the head of school, my team from head office, also the district officers from Ra district, the teachers present here, as well as the school management committee and the media. I'm delighted to be here. I have been to Rakiraki so many times in my capacity as the Minister for Local Government, and I have been visiting municipal markets and everything to do with municipality and the ratepayers. This is the first time I'm here in the capacity of a Minister of Education, and I've been visiting schools that were affected by the floods. From yesterday, we've been visiting several schools that were affected by flood. And it's just unfortunate that most schools are located in a flood-prone area. And during the planning phase, we have not paid a lot of attention towards ensuring that we do not put buildings in flood-prone area. And it has continued. But we are in a situation now that this particular school is facing flood almost every year. I have just come back from one of the schools in Ba, and they have been saying that their schools get flooded every year, not necessarily cyclone-related rain, but it could be just a heavy downpour. Now, it is certainly a concern, and the head teacher has correctly summarized by saying that each year when you have flood, the cost escalates because you have to clean up, you have to paint, you have to prepare, and it's not just the cost, it's also the energy that you put in, the time that you put in. And after a while, you become tired of it, literally tired. So there are a couple of things we can do. First one is, and I'm glad that this school has taken that into consideration, and that is having a disaster management plan. So you prepare that a disaster will come, and what should you do? And we have seen that number of schools have a disaster management plan. As soon as they hear the warning, they get into action mode. And it requires shifting the things upstairs or to higher grounds. And that work we normally see in schools, because that's one way of saving your resources. Whatever little things that you may have, whether it's just a chart that you need to save, why not? And of course, the classroom furniture that requires protection. So I'm extremely pleased with the school management committee, as well as the head of school and the teachers for the great work they have done after Cyclone Cody. We have seen that the teachers and the school management committee, they have gone into action mode, and they have been working around the clock, preparing the school for the return of our students. So disaster management plan is working. Unfortunately, there are some schools, they have a disaster management plan, but when the warnings come in, then they're not able to put it into action. And we noted these schools, and we've been working with these schools after Cyclone Harold and Cyclone Yasa, as well as Cyclone Winston. These schools did not even secure their water tank. They did not secure their generator, and these are expensive items. So we have been working with the head of school and the committee to make sure that these are our priority, so that as soon as the warning comes in, they're able to put these items or secure these items so that it doesn't get blown away or gets damaged by water, etc. Now, coming to the proposal that has been put on the table, I'll be very happy to take this proposal to the Minister for Waterways and have a discussion with him. I've done a similar exercise last year with the business community in Ba regarding Ba River, dredging of Ba River. In fact, if you have noticed, there was an advertisement placed by Ministry of Waterways in the paper for dredges. That work was done. Unfortunately, because of COVID and because of the COVID restrictions that came in, where even the companies could not get the workers, and then the borders were closed or restricted. So that caused further delay. But I have no hesitation whatsoever to take this proposal and have further discussion, because yes, when floods come in, it causes a lot of damage and it's simply a loss of money. But I have also noticed in some schools during my visit, or even in settlements that I have visited, there are simple solutions that we all can put in to prevent this flood water coming into our homes. One is the drains that you have around your house. Normally, people tend to dump their rubbish in the drain. And if we can start looking after those drains, making sure that the rubbish are not dumped in the drain, and the drain is often cleaned. And if we continue cleaning the drain, then you are protected to great extent. But we need to inculcate this proposal, or you can say this initiative, within a community or within a school environment, where the school management committee can work to ensure that the drains are cleaned. From the school that I visited in Ba, again, it's going to be a joint project between Ba Town Council and the school to clean up the drain and to look after that drain. So such small initiatives we all can put into action to save our properties. That's all we can do. You know about climate change, the impact is getting much more intense, and we can see that even if you talk to elderlies, and when you gather the information on cyclones, you'll hear the story that this flood was one of the worst floods as compared to the last flood. And that's the message I got from my visit from Ba. And I'll be extremely honest with you, this time around, Ba Town Council has incurred a huge cost to repair some of the buildings. The number of buildings that are leaking now, there are potholes within the parking area. All that needs to be fixed. Even the market has started leaking, so that needs to be fixed. And they are assessing the damages caused by Cyclone Cody, and then we have to put that into action. Like, we need to repair this very quickly, otherwise the properties can be at further risk because of the cyclone. So I take this opportunity to assure the school management committee, head of school and the teachers, that your proposal is accepted. I will be taking it for discussion with the Minister of Waterways, and let's see what comes out of it. Yeah, because sometimes what happens, there has to be further assessment done, as they did for Ba River. So we'll have a discussion with the Minister, and then the Minister of Waterways will be in touch with the community, and let's see what he suggests, or what his ministry can actually do. Yeah, so with this word, I want to once again pay my deepest respect to the school management committee for their foresight in building this school, as well as to our teachers who have been doing great work all along. We know that because of COVID, the school was closed, but you all have been working behind the scene, preparing worksheets, conducting Zoom classes, even helping in vaccination program. Even after our Cyclone Cody, the teachers are again back in classroom and they're helping the management in setting up the classroom. So with great appreciation, I thank you all for the work that you have done. Vinaka. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, madam.
The head of school, the divisional district officers and his team, the staff from the headquarters, teachers. I am delighted to be in this school. I often pass this way and I saw this school. But I didn't know that this school was facing a lot of problems. From the roadside, it appears everything is okay. But today I've learned that there is just one creek next to your school that is giving you heartache. Am I right? Yeah, just one creek. But it's a painful one, eh? Like every time there is a flood or heavy downpour, then the creek gets flooded and of course the water comes into your school. We were just talking about it while we were at Rakiraki Primary School. The reality is that when we plan our properties, whether it's a house, whether it's a school, whether it's a commercial buildings, generally in the past we did not consider whether the area was flood free or flood prone. Because we found a land, let's build the school here, without long-term planning or long-term thinking. And that is the situation generally you'll find in Fiji, where homes are being built in a flood-prone area. Even Nelly Beck Road, if you recall that, they're beautiful homes, commercial centers are there, but it's built in a flood-prone area. And when something is built in a flood-prone area, obviously it's not easy to uproot this building and go to a higher ground. Not possible. So you have only two options. The first one is mitigation. How do you mitigate the flood? And for that, you need to have a couple of strategies. First one is your disaster management plan. Second one is, as a community, what can you do about that creek? And I'm so glad to hear from the head of school that the school management committee is planning to replace the wooden posts with concrete posts. And he's right, that will not solve all the problem, but it will solve some problem. I would like to see how the teachers, the head of school, and the school management committee can come up with a plan to deal with this creek on the side. It's a creek. We can't dredge, right? It's a creek that needs to be constantly maintained. In other words, any debris needs to be removed, needs to be cleaned. You know, any silt that has accumulated needs to be taken out. But it's a regular maintenance of that creek that is required. It's not even it's just like a big drain, not a small one, but rather big drain that needs to be looked after. So my suggestion would be, and this is the challenge I am putting across through the senior education officer and his team, plus the teachers of the school and the school management committee, and if you need help, my team from Ministry of Education can also step in. I think, you know, in the past we used to have walkathon, spellathon, do this, do that. This time you make it drainathon. Just go into the drain, identify, explore, and see what can be done. We have found generally around Fiji, when there is a drain, then it becomes easy for people to dump their rubbish. And that becomes the cause of the problem. This drain is definitely an important drain because of the waterfall from the higher lands that it carries. Right? Any water that comes from the upper side and it goes down this drain. We have a similar situation in several settlements in Suva, that we have such drains. Unfortunately, in this situation, Ministry of Waterways is not going to help. Right, they will not help because they're looking after the rivers and streams, the bigger item. So I'm just going to put it across to you and see how best you can come up with a plan, and please share it with me as well, what you intend to do, and if need be, we will work together on this project and see if we are successful or not. If we are not successful, then we have to look for other options. But let's start with ourselves. You know, if we succeed, great, then you become the role model for the rest of the schools as what can be done collectively. So let's work on that one. And we simply cannot afford to keep our children out of a school. We have to get them back. Without teaching and learning, we will degenerate. You know, we need to get back. We need to get our children back into the classroom. Teaching and learning must continue so that we recover from the losses that we had made over the 2 years. It will be very difficult, extremely difficult to recover, but whatever we can, we have to do it. So one way of keeping the country moving, we have to continue with our economy. We have to grow our economy, and you can see the businesses are open, and that's the golden rule, not only in Fiji but everywhere else. Even New South Wales made the announcement they're not going to do any more lockdown. That's it, done. Right. UK has opened up their schools. They have made mask mandatory for all children, and children are going to school. Because for how long are we going to close the school? Similarly, New South Wales has made the announcement that the schools will open in February, because that's the time the schools open. Unlike Fiji, we open our schools in January. But New South Wales and Australia, they open their schools in February. And they're saying that we will open the school in February. Except for Victoria, they said that they will delay it by 2 weeks. So there are this strategy that we need to keep our schools open. And I'm encouraging all teachers to please maintain the various COVID-safe measures that were introduced by the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health under the COVID-safe reopening school guideline. Please follow that. It is very important that you do that. Right, so I wanted to share that with you. Something else that I wanted to talk about is the various developments that are taking place in Ministry of Education. For example, the curriculum. Curriculum is being reviewed and revised for various subjects. For ECE, primary school, we are in talks with DFAT, so that DFAT can step in and assist us with the curriculum review for secondary school. We will be introducing civics and moral education from ECE right up to year 13. Right. So all these changes are coming in because we have to make sure that our education system is fit for purpose. Is fit for purpose. And I want each one of you to reflect during your time and now, what has really changed? When you were a student in a school, and now you're a teacher, What has really changed? Did the curriculum change? Did the school environment change? Did our teaching style change? And I will leave it there. But in which era are we living? We are living in a digital world, right? And our children of this era, they are tech savvy, they are digitally aware, and they prefer to operate through their phone, through their computers, through games. That's the language they understand. If you're going to talk to them about some of the games we played, hopscotch, if you tell them about that, will they understand? Marbles, will they understand? So you can see, there is a big shift, and we need to improve on that. So we will be, in fact, we will be analyzing each and every school to understand the IT system that they have currently and what developments are required, what needs to be done so that we improve the ITC system in each and every school. And we should have a lot more resources, IT resources, that the teachers can use to motivate the students and to keep them interested so they are alert in the class. Chalk and talk days are over. I hope you understand that. It's gone. Even when I was a teacher trainer, we were told about discovery learning, creative thinking at that time. So we cannot rely on chalk and talk. We need to actually shift from our teaching style to make it more interesting for our students. So I will stop here, and I would like to thank each one of you for your contribution.